and go.
With all the latest talking points, discussions, and news from around the football world, this is Football Central.
Very good.
And go.
Right, hello and welcome to what are you doing? What Will, you just put me up. Right,
Sorry.
let's start again. Hello everybody and welcome to what was meant to be yesterday post match of Manchester United v West Brom, but due to me and Sam having the most horrific internet known to man due to bad weather, we gave it a miss. So here it is today. So joining me today, me and Sam are sole co-hosts. Will is the man behind the well, I was going to say behind the camera, but we do this over the internet anyway. But you understand what I'm saying. So say hello, Will.
Hi.
And basically, yeah, we're going to talk about the game, and there are a couple of other things that obviously we can talk about. Live updates of Newcastle versus Chelsea while we are on the air, and some reaction to another win for West Ham as they go into the top four for for tonight at least.
Hammering on the doors of those European places.
Let me allow you to say hello to your co-host this evening, Mr. Sam Taylor. How are you, mate?
Hello everyone. Yes, this is one of the few times we have actually had control of the show. And it feels quite invigorating, actually, I have to say.
Do you know what? I share your sentiments.
Knowing that there won't be many bloopers being made, as much as we love them. So you've got us tonight. We will be sharing duties as there's no Mr. TubeMix, although he is in the background. So there's no proper host. We'll just talk you through it, and all being well, Mr. TubeMix will also read out the comments. Remember, Mr. TubeMix, remember.
Yes.
Right. Well,
if there are any.
So without further ado, let's get on to the game. I'll start being a Man United fan, and then we can get the Chelsea perspective as well from JLIWheels. The game ended 1-1. Two spectacular goals. I think it was West Brom's new striker, is it, that scored?
Yes, I think he's
what's he called?
Mbaye Diagne or Diagne.
Vianney.
Yeah, something like that. Diagne. Let's go with that.
Yeah. A great finish to set West Brom on the way, and then as ever, the dependable, the magnificent, the Messiah, Bruno Fernandes.
Jesus!
With an unbelievable volley from just outside the box.
Yeah. Literally Johnny on the spot, wasn't he? Once again, Bruno.
Johnny on the spot. Did you see how hard that technique was?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying he was on the penalty spot, but it was a beautiful finish. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I'm like? I'm one of those people that does believe that Bruno is world class, but doesn't believe he's the second coming of Jesus like everybody else. But you have to say it was, for once, it was an otherworldly finish from
But I
Manchester
also
Jesus.
thought I also thought the West Brom finished very good.
Yeah, it was all right. Yeah, I mean, it's not quite Bruno's, but I thought
No,
Bruno's
no,
goal
no,
was
no.
ridiculous.
You know, obviously, but what I would say is, I mean, I didn't watch the whole home game because I was having internet issues and my telly runs through the internet. But anyway, however, I did see bits of it, and yeah, West Brom played as you would have thought, tried to hold on to the 1-0. Were defensively very sound. I played with a lot of energy, I thought. Obviously, when you're chasing the ball, I've been there, but normally on the playing with power dev football, but normally on the receiving end of West Brom, who are the best side in our league. Anyway, but yeah, for West Brom, they just obviously kept the shape, kept the discipline. At 1-1, I think United have got to be disappointed we didn't kick on and win the game. You know, if you look at it, George, as well as we played against Everton, which I think was one of our best performances, fluidity-wise, and that's 2 points taken out of the possible 6, and yeah, and also if you want to win a league, I mean, I can accept the West Brom result in some regards, but it really frustrated me how against Everton we went 2-0 up and then 3-2 up and let it slip. You can't afford to do that if you want to win leagues. And
Yeah,
you've got to find a way to win against your West Broms. Anyway, United winning the league is well out of the question. Yeah, but yeah, good game, and I have to say, just quickly before I let JLIWheels, I must say, but I watched Sheffield United v West Ham tonight, which we'll briefly come on to in a bit. But Sheffield United, alright, finished 3-0 to West Ham, but they created a lot. Sheffield United,
yeah.
and had a few
I listened
chances.
to it on the radio. Another great performance from Jesse Lingard. Once again.
Yeah, he looks
Um,
rejuvenated, I have to say.
yeah, seemed seemed like he had a class game again, which I'm pleased for him, and yeah, I agree with you with what you're saying. Sheffield United definitely had chances. I think 3-0
Flattered.
represents. Yeah,
West
no, I'm not going to say
West
flattered West Ham because they were clinical. They had chances and they took them. But on the reflection of things, you could probably say it flattered West Ham. Yeah, but I'm not disrespecting them because they were incredibly clinical when they had the opportunities.
Yeah. So your take on the Man United game then? I know you probably haven't seen it, but seen the highlights.
Yeah. The thing is obviously West Brom started with great energy, playing some good stuff, got the goal. To me, Lindelof should do better, but I'm always been very critical of them two as a pairing, Maguire and Lindelof. I something else that we're going to talk about maybe later on, or maybe I can mention it now, is we know for certain now that Dio Upamecano is going to Bayern Munich in the summer.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh, so you didn't know
No.
either.
No.
So Dio
No.
Upamecano is
You. No.
as of
You.
as of
You.
July
No.
the 1st, Dio Upamecano is a Bayern Munich player.
No.
No, it's honestly, I'm not messing.
Oh, you are.
Seriously.
You are joking. I'm heartbroken.
No.
But
Honestly, I promise.
Oh. Oh no.
Right,
Right.
I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read you now.
No. I can't take it.
38 million because that was his buyout clause. 5-year deal as well. Jeez.
Be funny
Yeah,
if
no
he
doubt
plays against.
Upamecano.
Be funny if he plays against Bayern in the Champions League and ends up beating them.
It would be, but yeah, that was the bit of news. I can guess by your reaction that you didn't know that, and I know Will hardly even keeps up with
No, I didn't know that.
I'm
Manchester United
gutted.
nearly football. So yeah,
I'm
big
absolutely
big
gutted.
big loss for the top four teams in the Premier League, the traditional top four teams in the Premier League as
What are
Arsenal.
United doing? What are United doing?
Oh
Why
Jesus!
why aren't we signing somebody like? No, I'm sorry. Why aren't we signing somebody like him? We know we got centre half up. We know we've got Maguire and Lindelof's okay, but they're not alright as a pairing. We know we've got Bailly, who's a good player who fits the mold but gets injured a lot. So why aren't we buying him for Meccano? Because I still feel we could have fought off Bayern Munich. You know, if we'd have really gone for it, we could have had him. And we need him more than Bayern Munich need him. So absolutely shocking.
But
Absolutely.
that's the same thing as the Sancho problem, isn't it? Like Sancho stayed at Dortmund when really, either way, United was, in hindsight, United was the better move for him, and probably for his footballing development, and
Yeah, but you could
would have
argue
been
whether
better for him.
you could argue whether we actually needed Sancho. Yes, it would have
Yeah,
improved us,
I don't know.
but then
I think with the likes of Martial and Rashford being patchy, I think he would have been a good option.
yeah,
But
no, no, I'm getting that, but we need a player like Upamecano more than we need a player like Sancho.
yeah, no,
And
it's just an example. I completely agree. I think like that, that as well as maybe another goalie, maybe some
we
more
don't need
midfield.
another goalie. We've got Dean. Dean should be playing now.
Yeah, what I'm saying is like, yeah, but I don't know. I don't think he's going to dislodge De Gea, and I think that's really unfair because I think on the balance of it, he actually deserves his chance
He does
massively.
now. He does now,
Because I
and I
think
love it.
like
I love
if
De
we,
Gea. I
yeah,
do. There's a time, you a bit like you with. Let me give you an example. Give me an example of a Chelsea player who was really good, and then, like towards the end of his Chelsea career, say, was poor. But you still loved him
I
because it was.
I'll tell you one, but only because he was sort of dislodged by Petr Cech. But Carlo Cudicini, I thought was brilliant and was really consistent at Chelsea throughout the early 2000s, and then there was no need for Petr Cech to come in anyway. But Petr Cech comes in, and then Carlo Cudicini, one of the best Chelsea goalkeepers of all time, in my opinion. We've had we had three great number ones in quick succession with Cudicini, Cech, and then Courtois. It's just one of those where sometimes it just doesn't go for you really.
I mean, I'll always love De Gea because of what he's done for United. Don't get me wrong. He's saved us so many times, but I think it's time for Dean now. And I'm not saying that should be the end of David Dea's Man United career. I'm just saying Dean Henderson needs a chance to establish himself
The
in that
thing
real
is
emphasis.
De Gea. Well, it was one of those because De Gea, the other goalkeeper as well for Everton. I think it was Pickford, wasn't it? De Gea and Pickford both had horrible games in that 3-3 draw.
No, it
You
was
know,
Robin Olsen.
oh, was it? Well, he didn't have a good game, and neither did De
He
Gea.
did
And I,
slip. He did
yeah,
slip on one of the goals.
no, you're
Yeah.
right. It's true, but I do think that De Gea has become a lot more error prone, and I think the reason it gets highlighted more and more is because the standard of performance from David De Gea before was unbelievable. I remember,
Oh,
I think it was,
When United was shit, he was incredible. I remember a game against Liverpool, just quickly. I think I think we won. No, I think it was a 0-0 draw, but he saved everything,
I
and
always
we
think
well.
about the games against Everton.
Oh yeah, I remember them.
In that time, every time that United came up against Everton, this was like prime Phil Jagielka, prime Leighton Baines, Lukaku.
Famous
He just
Coleman
has
on the
he just has the game of his life, like Leon Osman in midfield and people like that.
Pino,
Gareth Barry. He just
Pino.
always have fantastic games, but he's just not that goalie anymore to me. Like, I don't see David De Gea as what I did anymore. I just think
No, he's
it's
keeping his
time.
place. He's keeping his place now in history.
No,
And
I think you're right.
that good goalkeeper, don't get me wrong, is still in there. That world class goalie is in there somewhere, but it's just been lost.
Oh yeah,
You
we
know,
don't just leave. But
you
I
don't
don't.
just
I don't
leave
think
it
he's been very good. I don't think he's been very good for
for
at
about
least
18
three.
months.
Yeah, I was gonna say at least 2 seasons now. Just an update as well, by the way. Chelsea 1-0 up against Newcastle. Olivier Giroud, that man again.
Oh, he's a sexy man. I'm sorry, everybody, but I'm not gay. I'm not gay. And there's nothing wrong with being gay, by the way, but I'm not. But I do think Giroud is a good looking man.
Tammy Abraham injured again.
What? Is that why Giroud's starting?
No, he came off.
For Giroud?
Yeah, he came off for Giroud. So yeah, not the best, but I completely agree, and that's why I enjoy that we get to be on the show together, Sam. As I've said many times, about many things in life nowadays. It turns out we are on the same page, and the thing is, I'm looking forward to seeing what Henderson can do
Yeah.
properly, because I think that England are crying out for a genuine number one. Because
You
if you
know
were gonna,
what? Yeah, go on, carry on.
I said if you were gonna say to me who to choose, we had this conversation the other day, but I would choose Pickford based on World Cup experiences in England,
And the
fitting
way
him the
you
best.
play.
Yeah, but if you want to say on form, who plays in goal, I'd probably still say Alex McCarthy, despite the fact that they've conceded a lot recently.
I think, it's an interesting debate because England have always had good goalkeepers. We've always had good players, but never have we been technically very good as a team. Technically, I mean, with the ball at our feet compared to, like the Spanish and the Brazilians. And now we're starting to, from when Gareth Southgate took over, we've got our identity back, and we're actually playing some really good football. But throughout that time, under Capello and under Ericsson and under
Hodgson,
Steve McLaren, Hodgson, we've always had good goalkeepers.
Big Sam.
Big Sam. We've always had very, very good keepers, like world class keepers. But now we've got the opposite. We've got a great side and not one keeper that stands out. And as Jordan will know, Will won't because Will just looks at the attacking players. But as Jordan
Or his cats.
or his cats, as Jordan will know, you do not win anything without a good keeper, because your keeper will make in the league. It will make overall, like playing in the top competition, probably 40 saves in a season that you could say, yeah, that got us points there. And so it not just in the Prem, I mean overall competition. So you do not win anything without a goalkeeper. I don't know if you agree. And I think
completely agree.
England have got some very good keepers, but they've not got one outstanding going into the Euros.
And that's
But
the problem,
it's
isn't it?
up for grabs. It's up for grabs, which is good. Go on.
That's the problem, isn't it? You look at like Brazil, and they've got, you know, Edison, Allison. Look at Belgium, they've got Courtois. Mignolet's in great form over in the Belgium leagues. You know, really rediscovered his career. Castile's at Wolfsburg. You laugh, Will, but it's true. It's true. You know, that was the best thing he could have done, really. Germany have always got good keepers. You know, you're talking Ter Stegen, Manuel Neuer, Kevin Trapp, Bernd Leno. The Italians, Donnarumma, Buffon could still do a job, but
Is he not retired from the international football group?
Yeah, oh, maybe he has, but he's still an option. Then you've got like, what's the Atalanta keeper called? Sportello? It might be Sportello. There's good options for everybody. I think the only one that's kind of similar to us, you know, even France, you've got like Lloris, Ruffier,
I was going to say Spain.
Areola. Yeah, I am going to say Spain. Yeah.
There we are again, telepathic.
I am going to say Spain because if you look at De Gea, take him out of the picture. What are you gonna have? Kepa? But Courtois Belgium.
Oh, he is Belgium, isn't he? Yeah. How about I'm trying to think of anybody else Spanish. Kepa, I don't know.
Probably loads. There's probably loads,
yeah.
but I don't really have that much of a thing of La Liga. Even
How
like
about is David Reyes Spanish?
David Raya, but he won't play.
No, he won't play, but he's a good keeper.
I'm trying to think. I'm thinking. Oh God. I can hear the name of the fella, but I can't think who he plays for. I don't know. You flaming heck.
Sorry, everyone. TubeMix is having some issues. So yeah, I think no, you're right, and you know it's interesting because England have always struggled, and you've always said the one position England have always had a really good player is a keeper, and now we're in a situation where we don't know because you look at the keeper things about Seaman, you know, Gordon Banks,
Joe
Hart in his day, yeah.
Say what you want about Joe Hart, and I can already hear Will laughing. But the guy won the Golden Glove about 3 times, which is like I think the only person that's done that more than him is De Gea in the Premier League. Like Joe Hart was a class goalkeeper. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, no, I agree. Joe Hart was a class keeper. Was a class keeper, and he just didn't fit the modern game in the way that he wanted to play.
I think it's an absolute disgrace that one of the greatest modern English goalkeepers is rotting on the bench at Tottenham. When realistically, if Pep Guardiola would have fancied him, he probably could have, you know, rivaled Lloris for the @1 spot at Tottenham.
You mean if Jose Mourinho had fancied him, not Pep Guardiola?
No, because I think at the end of the day, yeah, what Hart did at the Euros was stupid, but there was no reason for Pep Guardiola to come in and go, I don't actually think you're all right. You know, you can't play with your feet.
I do get that. I'm not sure
Because-
Hart was brilliant with his feet. I think he was old-fashioned.
No,
Well, what
that's,
I said
but
was-
that's why I liked him. I thought like in terms of safety in an England match, you need a goalkeeper to just hoof it.
I
You know what
agree.
mean? Like, we had
I'm very much of that. yeah.
our three goalies at one point were the most promising goalkeeper in English football, Jack Butland, one of the
John
most
Butland.
underrated, one of the most underrated goalkeepers in English football, probably of the last 20 years, Ben Foster, and then like the best one of the best goalkeepers in world football in Joe Hart, and now. You know, then you're right. You've got other good young, other good goalies that were there as well. Fraser Forster, John Ruddy, Alex McCarthy, and now you got fucking Jordan Pickford.
I would say that I'm not sure Joe Hart suits the top manager's modern philosophy.
No, I don't
of
think.
passing the ball out from the back. Now, I'm not disagreeing with you, George. He won 2 Premiership titles at City. How many FA Cups and League Cups? But however, I can't remember off the top of my head. But he was a. We've just said that you can't win stuff without a top keeper. And let me tell you, Joe Hart has been a top keeper. All I'm saying is, I'm not sure he'd suit the way a lot of top managers.
I think he got very, very lucky with Man City because, they had not just that, but yeah, if you're gonna learn off anybody, I think there's no better person to learn off in the Premier League era than the likes of Shay Given.
What a keeper he is.
Yeah, I mean, Will won't understand.
Will
'cause all
probably
he'll see
won't
is-
know.
No.
Will probably
but-
won't know who Shay Given is.
Shay
Yes, I
Given,
do know who Shay Given is.
Shay Given, I always thought was given a lot of bad press, especially like when he played for he was playing for Stoke in the Premier League and he was 40 years old. I thought for a 40-year-old man he was doing brilliant. Yeah, no, I what I'm meaning is like Mancini came in, and Italian football at that point very defensive, very much that kind of style of goalie. That's why Buffon's had so much longevity, because he is literally the perfect goalie for Italian football. Not so much anymore, obviously, because he's 42 years old, but that's not the point. And then like Pellegrini, who's been around for years and years before he went to Man City anyway.
Old style coach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is he got lucky with the kind of the footballing approach of the managers. I think if somebody of like Pep Guardiola would have come in 2011, 2012, whatever, I think he probably would have been out the door for like a Victor Valdez or something like that. Well, knowing Pep Guardiola, he literally would have got rid of Joe Hart and stuck Victor Valdez in goal.
What I have to say though, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, is that I do think that Pep Guardiola didn't really give Joe Hart a chance, and I say that because you look at it, and they brought in Claudio Bravo. This was the year as the number 1 instead. The year before Edison came in. People forget that Edison wasn't a direct replacement for Joe Hart, because they brought Bravo in for Joe Hart originally, and he was a disaster. So,
yeah, and I was one of those. Go on.
If they'd have brought Edison in directly for Joe Hart, I think I could have understood it a bit more with the way City played. But Bravo turned out to be a disaster.
I'm gonna tell you something that you're not gonna believe.
Go on.
Timo Werner has scored for Chelsea.
No.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
That's when Diego Forlan scored for United. It was like, you know what?
a goal and an assist tonight for Timo Werner.
That'll do his confidence
But
good.
yeah, just to get back onto track for the game, because I like I said, I always say this to Will whenever we go off track. I enjoy it, especially because it's just me and you, and we have such similar outlooks on football that it's unbelievable. That I've really enjoyed having this conversation.
When we get angry, when we do disagree, so you know what I'm saying.
But mainly when we have a disagreement, it's always me that'll go, fair enough, benefit of the doubt, and you that goes, oh well, I'm still sticking to my guns. Well, it's just because I'm just a nicer person than you. But no, I completely agree about Bravo, and I was one of those people that was like, oh yeah, Claudio Bravo, fantastic goalkeeper in Spain for Sociedad and then for Barcelona. I thought he was perfect for the Pep Guardiola style. And the one goal that always sticks into my mind, and I imagine Sam will know straight away, is in the derby against Manchester United. Yeah, see? Where he completely missed it, and Zlatan just volleyed it into an empty net. And
I do think they beat us 4-1 that day.
Yeah, I think he had obviously sort of saved his reputation a bit because he was the cup goalie and saved a lot of penalties and shootouts and penalties in general and stuff like that. But still, yeah, Johar, fantastic for me, and obviously Edison came in after Bravo, and what a great for me.
Edison just like, I look at him and I'm like, wow, if he had injuries in midfield, just stick him in there. Like, honestly, I know it's been discussed before, but he has got the best feet of a goalie I have ever seen in my life.
He wanted to take a penalty, didn't he, the other day?
Yeah, and I don't know if he
saw... let him do it.
Yeah, if it's your best penalty taker, let him do it. If my best penalty taker was my goalkeeper, I'd go, right, you're on the penalty.
Do you know of the goalie, the Brazilian goalie called Rogério Ceni?
I've heard of it.
Played for Sao Paulo for, I think, 20 years. Took all their penalties and all their free kicks and had a fantastic track record.
Amazing. I have to say, though, like, did you see Edison's assist for Bernardo, for Ilkay Gundogan's second goal?
I did, yeah. What a player he is, by the way.
But he is. But he meant that pass, Edison. It was a pass, not a kick. Because you saw his eyes looking at where Gundogan was running to. What a ball. And he makes it look so effortless. You know, it's not like it's a big kick he's got. I know it is a big kick. I mean, the contact, it's like a short little punch he does with his foot, but it goes miles. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think right now the best goalkeeper in the league is Edison, I think. By a country mile.
Yes. I think Lloris is starting to struggle a bit.
Yeah, he didn't have the best of games last game, did he? He was a little bit at fault for the one of the goals, wasn't he? That Tottenham conceded.
Two of them, actually. I think.
Two of them. But yeah, no, I do think that Edison is the best current goalkeeper in the Premier League by quite a mile.
I mean, he's just... you can tell he's Brazilian, put it that way.
Yeah.
He's Brazilian. He's got that, and he couldn't really tell by looking at him in terms of skill, like somebody like Fred was Brazilian, or do you remember Fred that played in the World Cup?
Oh yeah, yeah. He just looked like some random bloke that they dragged onto the pitch,
It was hilarious. It made me laugh because everybody else around him had so much skill, and the ball went up to him, and I was like, shit house, God, shit house.
He was. He was the definition of a shithouse, wasn't he?
It was just like, I was like, come and play for Stoke, mate, it'd be brilliant.
Oh, I miss players like that, like Luis Adriano. Do you remember him?
Yeah,
Yeah, I miss like you always had that in a Brazil team, didn't you? Like 10 players, like missing out the goalie. But then again, like Brazil had like Julio Cesar in goal, so that was that's nobody to stick your nose on.
don't you find it funny though when like players, it's not so much from an English perspective, but when you see it like from a Brazil perspective, especially because we all know about the football culture in Brazil, and you just see all these silky players, and then you get the one like Fred, and it all just it's so Fred.
That's the thing, innit? I always used to think that about Brazil because they'd have like 10 good players, and then they'd have like Luis Adriano at CDM just 2-footing blokes all over the place. Not Luis Adriano. What was his name? Bayern Munich. Luis Gustavo. He used to 2-foot players all over the place. Or like all these great defenders that Brazil have had, and they'd have like Naldo from Wolfsburg who could hit a 40-yarder and all that, like top bins it. Then they'd have Dante next to him.
Or like you look at somebody like Joelinton and you're like, oh yeah. And when he came in, I was like, might not be the best version, but he's gonna have some of that Brazilian flat. And I just don't see any of it.
Well, we had that conversation a couple of weeks ago, didn't we, about Joelinton? And I said, well, he's got Brazilian flair, but because I do think that anybody from Brazil has that. I don't know where it comes from or why, but they all have got it.
Fred doesn't play for United. He's a good player, but he definitely doesn't have. Have you seen him take a shot from the edge of the box?
Yeah, I've seen him take a few. But then I always thought that about like the great Italy side of way back when, with like either Buffon or Abbiati in goal, and you had like Maldini and what have you, and Gattuso and Pirlo, and then you had like Filippo Inzaghi up front, who was just like one of the most caught offside players in football history. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, even like the Dutch team, and you've got like Van Dijk, and you've got
You used to have like Alex Butler at left back.
Dupay, yeah, and then you've got Aspas. Make me laugh.
But then like that always used to tell me, because like you'd have David De Gea for United, and then like Kepa doing crap for Chelsea, but he'd still get in ahead of De Gea for Spain for like a good year or so. But like 2 or so years ago after the World Cup, like De Gea was basically second choice for that entire year to Kepa.
I mean, I'm not dissing any of these players. They're all good in their own right, and we're not having a dig at them. I just mean it's funny when you get all these footballing coaches and you see somebody.
Yeah, I'll give you one, right? I'll give you one. Bulgaria, right? Dimitar Bertov, Zoltan Gira, what was his name? The winger, Judziak, or however you say that. And their goalie was that bloke that always played in joggers. You always had it from like Ivory Coast. You had like Drogba, Kalou, players like that, and then you had like somebody called like Sunday. I don't know. I'm not even gonna go there because you're going down dangerous territory. But I'm thinking specifically of like they had a pretty good team all round, didn't they? Ivory Coast, and then their goalie was just like the second choice for like some Belgium top flight team.
But I have to say that you had the reverse with England, where you had like uh, you know good players, but players who never did it for England, and then you just had Paul Gascoigne, who was like a Rolls Royce in like all the carnage of England. He was just like our playmaker.
Yeah.
It's
And that's
funny.
why, like,
It is funny.
that's why
Anyway,
it's important when Will was going on the other day about Lallana. That's why it's important when there are good players for national sides. It's important to pick them out and say, yeah, this player deserves to be where he was. Like we talk about Berahino, about Charlie Austin, players like that who haven't really amounted to that much now. But when they were around the England sides, they deserved it. Jay Rodriguez. You know what I mean?
Wilfred Zaha never got it.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I completely agree. But I think obviously he sort of made his mind up by the time he actually came good.
No, because he said in like after the World Cup of 2014, he excuse me, he wanted to play for England, but he said in a recent interview that nobody contacted him, so he was like, "Well, I'll go and play for Ivory Coast."
Definitely very interesting. I think
I have to say,
go on.
Carry on.
No,
Carry on.
No, I was gonna say like, yeah, you know, we talk about players like Joe Hart now, and we have a laugh. Somebody like Ricky Lambert, for example, as well. Like we have a laugh about them and what happened to the career.
I like Ricky.
But Ricky Lambert, when he came into the Premier League, yeah. But this is, I'm not on about you. I'm on about for Will's benefit because I know he's listening. But Ricky Lambert worked so hard to earn his place where he was. Luke Shaw, how much time you spent when we very first started this saying about getting rid of Luke Shaw, blah blah blah. Luke Shaw was the best defender. Well,
you there, mate?
Yes.
No, not you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So, no, Luke Shaw has improved. So as we seem to have lost JLIWheels, and please feel free on any of the topics we've discussed here. Please feel free to get involved with a comment.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Or you know, on any of the topics we've discussed.
Oh, he's back, son.
We'd love to hear from you. Yeah, JLIWheels is back. So what we'll do is, I think this is a good point to do the player rating with JLIWheels.
Well, I actually thought it was probably best for you to do it because my internet. That's why I've been a bit patchy for the last couple of minutes. My internet.
That's all right, Sonny boy.
Do one. Are you sure?
I'll make sure I do the Manchester Evening News to keep Mr. Happy.
No, don't. The Manchester Evening News are biased. Don't do the Manchester Evening News.
No, because we'll do the Manchester Evening News and then we'll do a West Brom one, like Birmingham, for the West Brom ratings.
I think do Sky Sports because it has both all in one.
Does it? Oh, I'm on it now.
Yeah.
I'm on it. Right. I'm on it anyway. Stick with this.
Whenever you're ready, then.
Right. So this is the Manchester Evening News, everybody. Man United player ratings. What we do, if you've never seen us do this before, is we do the player ratings for each team, and from a local newspaper. So we'll start off with Man United's and then go on to West Brom Champions player ratings. So, David De Gea first. So rooted to his line for the opening goal, but then denied the striker, but then denied West Brom's new striker as well. Magnificent goalkeeping to thwart West Brom twice, and overall a good performance, an 8. Aaron Wan-Bissaka got into good crossing positions, but often failed to find a teammate. Where am I up to? Oh yeah, failed to defend well when at the far post, 6. And then Victor Lindelof. Lindelof was so weak in failing to outmuscle the West Brom striker for the first goal. Off the pace throughout. Again, a 4. Where am I up to now? Harry Maguire, Jordan's favourite player. So he took on responsibility for some crosses, but was caught deep on occasion, and a penalty that was then overturned, and pathetic again, and pathetic at times. Ooh, it's a bit harsh. Luke Shaw, drawn in field for the opener, but was able to assist Bruno Fernandes, and his performance levels were good again. Scott McTominay, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was on his case over a breakdown in communication with Fred, had a shot cleared off the line, a 6. Fred, poor on the day. Needed more creativity from the midfield. 1 second. Needed more creativity from the midfield. 2 against 2 defensive sides. 5. Who've we got now? We have Marcus Rashford. Threatened the right wing, like a graveyard shift again, and Solskjaer had to give him pointers. 1 good cross, a 5. They're very harsh, these. Bruno Fernandes was having one of his worst games for United until he did something out of nothing, which with his shining volley, a 6. Anthony Martial, nigh on ignominious in the game. He was fortunate to start. Never looked like he remotely fancied it, and made way for Mason Greenwood, a 3. Flipping heck, these are low, aren't they? Edison Cavani could have equalised not long after the opening goal. Went through periods where he never touched the ball, a 5. And then we go on to substitutes. Nathan Greenwood did more in 4 minutes than Martial did in an hour. A 6. Donny van der Beek offered some thrust, a 5. Manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer took the easy option in starting David De Gea over Dean Henderson, and inexplicably retained Martial when Greenwood is in good form, a 5. So they are your Manchester United player ratings. Do I do the West Brom ones, or do you want to do it?
I'll do the West Brom ones. I just wanted to say, like, I'm glad that Man United are being called out for bad performances, but they were very scathing.
They were very, very scathing, yeah. Harsh.
I thought.
Yeah.
Hang on 1 second. So I'm gonna go to Sky Sports for these. Sky Sports, West Brom. Player ratings. Hang on. I don't know. I think, like, even when Man United do well and play well, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer never seems to get very good manager ratings.
I think it's because he sits down all the time.
This doesn't give any explanation, but it just says player ratings. And these are a bit more. Yeah, these are a bit more fair, I would say. Well, in some cases, but I'll just read them out. It doesn't really give much of an explanation. West Brom, Johnston 7, Lee Peltier 7, Semi Ajayi 7, Bartley 7, Townsend 7, Yokozlu 7, Snodgrass 7, Maitland-Niles 7, Gallagher 7, Pereira 6, Diagne 8, substitutes Furlong 7, Livermore 5, and Phillips not applicable. Whereas for United, just out of interest, Man United, De Gea 7, Wan-Bissaka 6, Lindelof 6, Maguire 7, Shaw 7, McTominay 7, Fred 6, Martial 6, and the rest are 7s, with substitutes Greenwood and Van der Beek both getting a 6.
Very good.
They were a bit too middle of the road for me.
Yeah. And they didn't give explanations. We won't be using them again. Who are they? So I can jot it down.
Sky Sports.
Oh, it's Sky Sports. So what pathetic things.
But the last time I used Sky Sports, they're actually really good. So I don't know what's gone on there. But yeah, so there we go. That's that then for that. Do we think Man United could do with a Jesse Lingard right now?
Yeah, I don't see why not. But I think, to be fair, this isn't like a normal loan spell where a player goes on loan to gain experience. It's at the peak of his career, age-wise. It's to
Well,
put
the thing
him
is,
in
I think
to
I
put
think
him in the
people
shop
don't-
window. To put him in the shop window for sure. And West Ham could go out and buy him. If they get into Europe, he might be interested.
That's the thing. I think people don't realise that Jesse Lingard is 28 years old.
Yeah. But he does.
You know, he's not a
still have
young player anymore.
He has a young face, and that's probably what
I think he's seen as a young player because he's not actually played that many games.
Yeah.
Like, he's always been on the periphery, like a young player would be.
Yeah, I think.
Like everybody that goes on about Loftus Cheek being a young player. Loftus Cheek is like 26 years old.
I think. I think Jesse needs to move on, and it's hard when you come from the United Academy and play at the top level. You think, well, you struggle to look past United because it's such a big team, but West Ham are a big club. If I was him and I have a really good loan spell and I really enjoy my football, which he looks like he is enjoying it at West Ham. Like his understanding is the best player on the pitch tonight,
Yeah.
and his understanding with the West Ham players is seamless. It's like he's played there for a decade.
For an English player in the peak of the powers, specifically in the Southgate era where he just hands out caps to anyone, I'd rather be at a West Ham than a Man United. Honestly.
Would you, if West Ham have a good season and you're Jesse Lingard, would you try and go back to West Ham next year? Why not?
I would stay at West Ham because I just think that Man United are a toxic club at the minute.
No, I get that. But would you try and get a bigger move than West Ham, or if they get into Europe, why should you look beyond?
I think my opinion is at this point, at least, this is my prediction now, that West Ham will go into Europe. I think West Ham
it won't be the
will
top
stay
four.
in Europe. No, I think it'll be like Europa League, like having to go to like Malta and Moldova and places like that, for like the qualifying rounds. I think that's what they'll have to do.
Well, why not?
Yeah.
If he's happy playing there, then West Ham's a great club. So people don't realise how big West Ham is. I mean, the England World Cup winning captain played for West Ham for most of his career, if not all.
And the man who scored a hat trick for the World Cup final. Was it a hat trick?
James Yeah. The only man, still the only man to score a hat trick in the World Cup final.
Not just against any team, against the Germans as well, which in the '60s was still a big deal.
It was West Germany.
Well, it's a big deal now. It's a big deal now. Don't get me wrong. It's a big deal to beat the Germans now. But what I mean is, the World War II generation and all that. Most of them have thought. A lot of that resentment's gone now, whereas back then it wouldn't have done.
But it was West Germany, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, it was West Germany. East Germany. Actually, East Germany had a lot worse team than West Germany for some reason. Obviously, it didn't matter once the Berlin Wall came down.
Went down.
Yeah. But no, I don't know. I just think for Jesse Lingard, for any English player, I would avoid.
Go on.
The minute going to a Man United, because I just think like same as Liverpool. I think like Liverpool have that. They've had 2 or 3 years of sustained success, being the best team in world football. I think they've lost 3 games on the spin, and people are saying, "Oh, is it time for Jurgen Klopp to take a break, maybe step down?" Because not only are they having a bad time, but also his mum's just died, hasn't he? But he obviously can't go over to Germany.
Has she?
To go see. Yeah, she died from COVID.
Oh, when?
I think like last week.
Oh, poor woman. Well, my condolences to all the Klopp family. Yeah, terrible thing. And the sooner we can get COVID under control, the better. Yeah, my thoughts are with Jurgen's mum, and also anybody else that's suffering or lost their lives. And there's people losing their lives all the time, but everybody that's struggling with
Sorry,
with
I'm here now.
COVID.
The
Everybody-
internet in my house is a disgrace.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
But yeah, no, he couldn't get to Germany because of flight restrictions and stuff. So on behalf of the TubeMix channel, unless Sam's already done it, just want to all the thoughts out there to the Klopp family because
Yeah.
it's horrible, horrible.
And everybody that's suffering with COVID, you know.
Absolutely, I think one thing I do want to say just quickly is we are right there at the end of it all now. Like what that guy said, 2 more sprints in a marathon or something like that, didn't he? 2 sprints in a marathon, that guy said earlier on. But I think that we need to look at this as like the final push. You know, we've played the first half. You know, we're 2-0 down, but we can still come back.
Yes, definitely. I'm liking the attitude, and you know, as we've said many times, there's a lot going on at the moment, and people's pain that are left behind once COVID is put into the history books as an event that has happened rather than is happening. People's pain will still be there, who've lost people. So yeah,
Absolutely.
we hope that on this show we can give you a bit of a distraction from everything that's going on, and that is our main purpose. Beyond, all right, we like to have a laugh and a joke, and of course, because that's what keeps people going. But our main purpose, the reason we do this, is because we just want to bring
Yeah,
people a bit of respite, really.
absolutely. I'm just gonna cut in with something very interesting. It's
Hello,
in Chelsea. I'm reading on to Newcastle 0. Yeah, can you hear me?
go on. What were you saying?
Ah, for God's sake, can you hear me right?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, it's a bit robotic, but good.
Hello, George. He's yeah, go on.
There we go. Right. 62 minutes in. I've just clicked off it now because I thought it was fucking up. 62 minutes in. Cheeky from John Joe Shelby trying to catch Kepa out with a shot from close to the halfway line. But the Spanish goalkeeper deals with it very coolly, taking the ball on his chest and letting it drop to his feet. There's a keeper in there somewhere, and it looks like Thomas Tuchel might have found it. Kepa has been very assured with everything he's done tonight.
Where's Mendy?
Oh yeah, did I not tell you? He's Mendy's on the bench.
No, I didn't know that. He'll have to do more than one game to convince me, Kappa.
No, and I agree, but I think that if anybody deserves a break, it's Kepa.
He's had his chances. And I'm sorry, George, because I don't want to sound like Will, which I did there. But I say that because of what he did in the cup final when Maurizio, told him to get off the pitch and he didn't. That was disgraceful in my mind, and I'm still not, still have bad feelings about that. You do not do that to your manager. Refuse to come off like that. He should have had his contract ripped up right in front of his eyes there. In my opinion. So yeah. Yeah, but you know, he'll do his confidence good. I suppose that the manager's got faith in him, but I just can't forgive him for what he did under Maurizio Sarri. It was appalling.
Oh
Absolutely,
yeah, I see. I understand that.
I would have ripped up his contract right in front of his eyes.
I think it's just like the thing is, and I've always been a little bit dodgy about Kepa since then. It's just the disrespect of it, isn't it?
You don't do that. If I did that for my dad, my dad has been my manager, and I know that if I did done that, yeah, alright, at times I wasn't happy about it, but I know that if I'd have refused to come off, I would have probably never played for him again. So it's the worst thing you can do to undermine your manager like that. And I wasn't a big Maurizio Sarri fan either, not in terms of the football, but in terms of him. I thought he was a bit dodgy, but even so, you don't do that in front of your manager, to your manager and your teammates. Disgusting.
No, I agree. So the final thing I wanted to touch on before we started to wrap this up is obviously great point for West Brom, but with Fulham beating Everton, I don't know how much it's going to do for them,
No. The thing about the bottom three, it's interesting. I was thinking this watching the game tonight, the West Ham Sheffield game, is none of the bottom three are playing like doomed. It's quite good to see. Like they're all playing with real heart and tenacity, even though the situation is a difficult one.
Hang on, let's change that. It's quite good to see, unless you will. In which case, he doesn't want to see a Big Sam team doing well. I think just on West Brom again. I think if West Brom go down, a lot of that, quite a few of those West Brom team could play in the Prem.
Obviously,
I think Conor Gallagher obviously will come back to the Premier League. I think Sam Johnston, Ajayi. I like the young lad O'Shea.
Pereira playing there.
The young lad, he's like 21 or something like that. O'Shea, the centre half, he could.
Dara O'Shea.
Yeah. What's the right back? Furlong, he could. I've been impressed with him this season.
Yeah. So there are a few. I think there's a few that can't hack it. I've always been a Matt Phillips fan.
Yeah, I always think he's been hard done by with where he's gone in his career. I think like
when he got relegated with QPR, I thought
he was
years ago I was one of his best player.
The problem is he's always been outshone. Like at Blackpool, he was just as good as Ince, but because Tom Ince was like on another planet, Tom Ince got all the plaudits. And then like when he was at QPR, Charlie Austin was banging in 25 goals a season. And then even then he
even had the
comes to West Brom.
Even like Julia Hoylett was getting a lot of plaudits and money in that QPR team.
Where the hell's he now? Cardiff.
And then at West Brom, what? Sorry.
I was gonna say like at West Brom, they have got wide players that can do a job like your Pereira and players like that.
I always think Pereira's best in the attacking part of midfield and playing behind the strikers.
I think I'm starting to come to the conclusion that I think Fulham will stay up. I think they've got the belief, they've got the players, and they've got the manager. I think Fulham will stay up. Brighton will go down with West Brom and Sheffield United.
No, I don't think Brighton will. I think Newcastle could.
You think Newcastle?
I just think because they've lost Callum Wilson, and don't see where the wins.
Oh,
are
mate,
going.
maybe now's the time for Joe Linton to come in banging all the goals with his Brazilian flair.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a big good time to show it.
Yeah, it certainly would.
Right. Are we ready to wrap up, or have we got?
I think, unless Will has anything he'd like for us to touch on, I think we're good to wrap up.
No, I think you've covered everything. So no, I think it'd be a good time to wrap up.
Right. Well, who's doing the outro? Me.
Yeah, I did the intro.
Right, everyone. Well, that's us for tonight. We will be back on Thursday for the Roundup show, as well as updates on all the Europa League games, as well as looking back on the Champions League games as well, from this week, coming up. So yes, and we'll be doing our normal predictions and covering any major topics which may occur. If you have liked the show tonight, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the TubeMix YouTube channel and us here at Football Central. And yeah, and it's been great to have your company tonight. I do like these post matches and extra time discussions. Yeah, so everybody stay safe. Slowly but surely we are getting on top of this virus now, and I hope you're keeping well and safe, and I hope we've brought a bit of joy to you tonight. Before we go, my thanks to JLIWheels.
Always a pleasure, never a chore.
And the much better producer than he is host.
Thank
To
you.
be fair, I must admit I have absolutely loved tonight's show.
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic.
And if you prefer us heading this up as a two-man band and Mr. TubeMix in the back, please do let us know that as well in the comments. And if you don't feel that way, then let us know that as well. Great to have all your company tonight, and we'll see you again later in the week. Bye bye.
Stay safe, everyone. Ciao.
Bye. Bye.
See you.